So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caroline Logan. I'm the Programme Director for BuildForce, reporting to you from a very grey, bleary Dorset day. But to bring some sunlight to our lives, we have two of our very own candidates who are going to talk to you about the roles of a slinger signaller and an electrician. So exciting stuff. So sit back and enjoy. Over to you, Angela.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Angela Forbes and it's a great pleasure to have you with us today. So these are our virtual career chats, which offer a 1-hour deep dive into careers in construction and bring you closer to our employers as you, our military audience, consider your next chapter upon leaving the armed forces. Now, today we discuss our trades, so namely slinger, signaller and electrician. So our trades are the backbone of our economy. They are our industry. The rest of us faff about with paperwork and spreadsheets, whilst our trades are physically building this great country. And yes, they will bore you every time you drive past one of their projects, but that is entirely their privilege. Now, I'd like to introduce to you Dan Wynn, slinger signaller with BBV on the HS2 project, and Kevin Boone, electrician with Dark and Taylor. Now, these are two BuildForce candidates who are incredible ambassadors for both their trades and their military cap badge. So delighted that you can both join us today. So we will hand over to Dan to kick us off. We will switch our cameras off whilst Dan takes us through a bit more about his military career and his transition.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name's Balfour Beatty Vinci, working on HS2. So different today this morning. Work was promoted to crane supervisor, so I'm happy with that. That was a nice morning. So just moving on. So a bit about my military career. So spent 9.5 years serving in the Royal Engineers, where I trained as a military engineer specialist driver. Served with 2 armoured engineers down in Tidworth, Perham Down. Promotion, I moved to Arc Sport Battalion in Gloucester, and then I moved back to Perham Down and Tidworth with 2 armoured engineers, where I finished as a MT section commander, managing transport logistics of a busy HQ and support squadron. While I was there, I deployed on multiple construction exercises and deployments where I acted as like site supervisor. So a bit of construction experience. And before I joined the army, I was a bricklayer, so I've always been in and around construction sites. While I was in the engineers, then I trained as a mobile crane operator, a slinger signaller, crane supervisor, and appointed persons for lifting operations. So lifting was always something that I wanted to get into. So just moving on to my journey and my transition in May 2022. Out as soon as possible, so I was could be at home with my little family. When finding out she was pregnant was the kick I needed. I'd been like kind of thinking about the idea of signing up. Also, I'd found out about BuildForce from word of mouth and on LinkedIn and such. So first thing I did when I'd signed off, I registered with BuildForce, and during that registration, waiting for like an email back, started watching all the career like virtual career chats like this one today. Watched all the HS2 ones, management, logistics management. I found it really insightful and really beneficial to hear how of a resettlement and whatnot, getting into construction. Lucky for me, a couple of weeks after BuildForce, there was a BuildForce open day on HS2 hosted by Balfour at these offices now at the A46 Kenilworth compound. So went down. It was brilliant, really beneficial. I loved it. Got to go around all the sites, got to see all the heavy plant and equipment, see the size and scale of HS2 firsthand. It was like really eye-opening. It was massive. We had a few guest speakers, and when they were talking, saying the size, scale, we're building the legacy, this once-in-a-generation infrastructure project. I was just like, yeah, this is a bit of me. This is what I really want to get involved in. So definitely got spiked my interest straight away. Also, after the guest speakers, we got to speak to the supply chain, walk around and have a chat with like different hiring managers and all the different companies that supply HS2. Also, there was like CV, one-to-one CV advice with hiring managers, and then like a career workshop. So health and safety hosted a talk, construction management hosted a talk, and logistics. So I put my name down for everything. I wanted to make the most out of the day, and it was fantastic. Logistics manager here, BBV, he got me rolling to get me on site, like a one-to-one site visit. Drive around with Peter Rigby, who's the construction director, the big boss. He took me around all the sites, lots of questions, and yeah, that was great. You got back to site, and he put me in front of veterans that are serving on HS2. I got to see how they were settling in, work-life balance, what they spent the resettlement on, like just how it is on the other side. And then he put in front of a few different hiring managers, such as health and safety, construction management, and lifting. So like, obviously I had an interest in lifting already. So I hit it off with the lifting manager, Dion, and between Marcus, Dion, they managed to sort me out a 3-week placement, which was more than happy to go. So the first week of the work was in the office with the APs and the managers, just getting to see firsthand what goes, the processes and the procedures, writing and managing lift plans, and then that goes into getting cranes on site to lift. I spent the following 2 on site with the site teams working on the ground, so the slingers, the supervisors, working hands-on with all the cranes, the roto telehandlers, working with the machine, meeting the team, and I absolutely love that, working out on the ground, working with the plant and equipment. Yeah. So yeah, good job as a slinger, which I was more than happy to accept, and on May 22nd, 2023, and still here now. So yeah, being a slinger. So that's me at work. Working on sublot 2A, which is a 13-kilometre section of track, basically, of HS2. In that 13 kilometres, we've got 25 structures, and I've been working as part of a lifting team. So imagine, or a platoon. So we've got 2 APs at the top, 3 crane coordinators, 10 supervisors, 15 slingers, 3 roto operators, and 3 telehandler operators. There's plenty of ex-army and ex-services in the team, like Greg the boss, he's Grenadier Guards. My supervisor is ex-para. Some of the operators are engineers and ex-RLC, so yeah, plenty of ex-forces working in lifting. Currently working on the A46 box size structure, which is like the flagship structure of our sublot structure. So that's was building the slab. There's a few more pictures. We're just starting to come now, so that's us come. That's at the current state of just coming out the ground now. So we started in August last year, finish in March next year. So we built. So in the background there, that's 6 road going left to right. We're building the essentially bridge on this area here. We're going to push it into place over about a period about 12 days. So massive 14,000 tons in weight, 1,300 tons of rebar, 4,000 cubic meters of concrete. I'm going to be, like say, pushing it 63 meters across the road over a period of about 12 days, and then build the road back over the top of it. So yeah, some serious engine. We started with a 90-ton mobile back in August. Now we've got 2 250-ton crawlers and a 60-ton crawler crane. So yeah, like a day in the life then. So currently working 7 till 7 shifts. It's a bit long, but we move. 07:30 brief in the morning. We all sit in the canteen. One of the general foremen will come brief us all on all the works for today on that site. Any hazards of all the deliveries that are coming in. Any like admin points or welfare aware of. And then from then we'll all shake out into our teams and go up stores, get our lifting radios, and get the transport down to our specific sites and work area. once we arrive on site, then we'll get our lifting briefing from our supervisor, lifting specific task briefing, what we're doing today, what we're lifting, where we're to, what kind of lifting accessories we'll need, and anything specific, wind, and just that kind of stuff. Once we're all happy and we're signed on, we're going to make sure they're serviceable for use, clean, and most important, in a safe condition. Once we're all happy and we're good to go, we'll start liaising with the trades on the ground. So we're currently working with 3 gangs of steel fixers and of shuttering joiners. So and we've only got 2 cranes that will feed. So trying to keep everyone happy when everyone wants lifts. So we'll liaise with all the supervisors and all the trades and prioritise what needs to happen so everyone's working, no one stood around. Yeah, work together, and yeah, we're all good. We're all happy down there, and that's kind of the process. And then we'll just be lifting bits and bobs all day. So, I've been lifting bundles of rebar for the steel fixers, lifting the welding generator onto the slab, and some strong backs for the joiner shutters. So it's our day in the life. Things that attracted me to getting into lifting was like the range of how varied it is. Like I'm working with a 250-ton crawler bridge now. One of our supervisors was lifting glass to the top of the shard. Yeah, so all sorts of stuff. Yeah, there's clear career progression as well available. So starting as a slinger, move up to crane supervisor, move up to crane, moving up to appointed person in the office and managing lift plans. You can go as an operator, move into tunneling projects, piling projects. There's so many different avenues you can go down, different jobs you can do. So that was a massive, yeah. What really attracted to me, quite well paid, to be honest. So there we are. So how I spent my resettlement and my courses, I kind of wanted to rinse the army for every penny, to be honest. I know it sounds bad, but yeah, I wanted to make the most of it during my resettlement. So for my learning credits, got my level 3 first aid at work, which is a good course to have in any workplace, not just construction. It's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have on your CV. So that's where I started. Then on the mental health first aid course, something I was really interested in anyway, but I thought I'd jump on that. And then I went down to the education centre and got onto my level 2 maths and English. Chain and command were too happy with that, but yeah. Then I started spending some money. Really, I wanted like a general manager / supervisor qualification. So I did my SMSTS, which is manager safety training scheme. Used my IRTC grant for that, which is, I think you get 534 quid to spend on whatever you want. So use that. I then did a recce course, which was a pathways into construction. Working through your CV, how you sell yourself, how you can get them across to employers, and yeah, a lot of networking, and then one day health and safety course, and then you get your CSCS card at the end of that. So that was good. Me starting all my lifting courses, I emailed the guys down at Gibraltar Barracks crane courses to see if they'd be happy if I jumped on one of the courses, and revise and refresh myself to me attending all the lifting courses. So I jumped on the AP course, Barracks, and they're more than happy to help. Prerequisite to the CPCS appointed person, I did my CSCS manager and professionals test, just a touchscreen test at a Pearson test centre, much like your car theory. I then got in touch with Ainsco Training Services up in Leyland in Preston. I knew they accepted LCAS and funding and military discounts, so I got in touch with them. Originally, I didn't want to do my Slinger, I only wanted to do my AP, but they said, if you do your AP course and your Slinger course, we'll throw in crane supervisor for free. So that's what I did. So Slinger was just under £1,000 out my own money. Then I did my AP course and signed on to the NVQ level 5 with enhanced learning credits, and then got my CPCS crane supervisor for free. So crane CPCS is you do the course, you get a red card, then you have 2 years to do an NVQ, and then at the end I did my CPC module 2 and 4. Just if all else failed and all my plans failed, then I could go into truck driving just to get me by, really. I mean, that was, I didn't want to drive a truck, but you got to do what you got to do, so I just covered myself there, and that was paid for by the regiment. I slipped through the net somehow. Just going back to the MVQ, so Balfour Beatty very kindly paid for my Slinger Singular MVQ and my level 4 NVQ in supervising lifts, and I'm already signed on to MVQ level 5 in planning lifts, so lots of MVQs to get through. Yeah, I've still got 2 rounds of LCAS left, so my plan is in next year or the year after to do level 6 in construction site management, and then level 7 NVQ in senior site management. So that's kind of my direction, and that's my plan at the minute anyway. My top tips then. So first off, speak to your enhanced learning credits. So yeah, engage with them. Get onto. They'll also book a PTP 3-day workshop. So yeah, speak to them straight away, and they'll point you in the right direction. Start building your resettlement plan. So the first thing I did was a massive wall planner. Stuck it to my wall. Plotted my end date. So my day in the army. Added on all my leave and my GRT leave and my personal, did that on, and just worked backwards, basically plotting all my courses and just having it on the wall. See, kind of motivated me to keep going, really. Identify the required courses. What courses, like pre do you need for the profession you want to do? So research that, training providers, course costs, and then try and find as military discount, or you can get funding through your LCAS or anything like that. Attend employment fairs. So I did the BFRS fair and the CTP employment fair. Did a couple of those. Go with a bit of a plan. My first one, I was a bit nervous and I was kind of just walking around with no plan. Didn't know what to ask, and I was, but it opened my eyes. So the next one I went to, I had a handful of CVs, I had a question set of what I wanted to ask, potentially. I'd researched who was there presenting, so I made it prioritise who I wanted to speak. I wasn't wasting time, really, and that helped me a lot. Build your profile and your network. So started spending a lot of time on my LinkedIn profile. Every course I post about it, just gobbing off, basically saying I'm out there, I guess. Start building your network. I'd research people. I'd just type in operator, crane supervisor, AP, and whoever came up, I'd just try and connect with them and start asking them questions. I mean, sometimes people don't message, but just try and persevere with it and just keep going. So I just added lots of people and trying to build my network, and have a backup plan. So careers day and my work placement and all that. HS2 was plan A. That's the only thing. However, covered myself off with plan B and plan C, which plan B, I met the operations manager of Alalay's Heavy Haulage at a CTP fair, offered me a job as a crane operator with their crane team. And then plan C, I through LinkedIn, I linked with the head recruiter for Ainscow Crane Hire. She put me in touch with the area manager for the West Midlands. I went down for an interview, and he offered me a job, crane operator for Ainscow. But they were plan B because they work away so much, and plan C, well, I just wanted that on the back burner, really. So yeah, plan A, plan B, plan C, and then plan D, trucks for a living, which so covered myself off quite well there. And that is me.
Brilliant, Dan. That was fantastic. Thank you very much. And we'll hand over to Kevin.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's well. So I'm Kevin Boone, a ex-Army ammunition technician, and now I can happily say I'm a qualified Spark. I don't have a presentation, so you're just stuck looking at my face, so apologies there. But hopefully I should hit some good points that are helpful to everyone. So yeah, I conducted 17 years in the Army. As an ammunition technician, reached the rank of WO2, had a great career, don't regret it for any minute, but near the end of my career, I knew that it was time to kind of move on. But prior to making that jump, I spent a couple of months just making sure, kind of got my ducks in a row, done a bit of research, planning my resettlement before I press the button to start that kind of 1 year tick down. So because training as a electrician, especially with no experience, it's quite a lengthy process. So you need to kind of maximize your resettlement and use it wisely. So in that time, I attended the BuildForce career event in London, which was good to kind of go around speaking to different construction companies and just kind of help settle my mind to know that there is life outside the Army, and the decision I was going to take is kind of the right one moving forward. So to move on to the training requirements, as I say, it is quite a lengthy process, and it does require some commitment and to make sure that kind of it is what you want to do. But the end goal is, no matter which route you go down, is to get that NVQ level 3 in electrical installations. There's two main routes. One being the 4-year apprenticeship, which is kind of the preferred option through industry. But then there's the way that I conducted it, which is splitting it down into the individual courses. They're often referred to as short courses within the industry. With that, there's kind of pros and cons for that, which I'll go into. But before I do, I'll just go through each individual course. So if someone is going to follow the same route as myself, then they know what's involved. So first of all, there's your level 2 and level 3. You can conduct these through either City and Guilds or EAL. They both follow the same kind of criteria, so it doesn't really matter if you go either through those two. And that is your classroom-based knowledge. So you'll learn about the electrical science principles behind electrical installations. You'll do some work inside workshops. You'll do your theory and a bit of practical on inspection, test, and fault finding. And it's pretty much at that point where you kind of exhaust as far as you can go without being in work, minus your 18th edition, actually, which is just an extra course which involves just learning how to use the regulations, really. But as I say, once you've done those 3 courses, then you need to really find work to progress any further. Because after those 3 courses, then it is down to doing your NVQ. The NVQ is built up of a portfolio and some site visits. And then the last point of that NVQ is your AM2, which is your endpoint assessment, where you go off to a centre to just do an assessment over a couple of days to prove that you're competent to be an electrician. So through the process that I went through, then I'll go through kind of like the pros and cons. So the positive side of it is the controlling. I kind of could do level 2, then go away, do other things, then come back and do level 3, kind of to my time scale. And with that means that I could have conducted a lot quicker than the way I would have had to do it if I'd done it through the apprenticeship route. So in total, it took me just over 2 years to qualify. So a year of that was in the Army for my resettlement, do the classroom-based stuff, and then it took me a year from leaving the Army to complete the NVQ. But in total, it's about 10 weeks in college, spread out over your relevant courses, and then around 6 to 12 months, depending how determined you are to get that NVQ done. The thing worth noting, it's in total, it cost £9,000 in training there. the only one I had to pay full for was the level 2, because you can't use your enhanced learning credits for. But all the other courses I've used enhanced learning credits, your IRTC, or when I was in employment, I got some sponsorship through my employer to cover my AM2. So moving into some of the kind of the cons of the route I'd done. So as I say, it's referred to as short courses, doing it in the way I done, and they hold a bit of negativity within the trade. This typically dates back to when Part P was introduced, and with that there was the original short courses, which was like a 4-week domestic installer course, which from that you could then sign up to a competent person scheme and then basically go around people's houses acting as if you're a qualified electrician. So there is still a lot of kind of a hang up with that, and people do kind of give a bit of a negativity for that. I found it quite difficult finding employment, having all the certificates, but with no experience to back it up. You'll find on some of the kind of job listings, it'll say here and there, it'll say no short courses and stuff like that. So that's if you go down the same route as me, that's kind of a hurdle that you'll have to get over, although you will get to potentially where you want to be quicker. So another thing to be wary of, if you are going with private training providers, it can be a bit of a minefield. So just use your due diligence and look into what they're going to provide before they do. There's a company that just folded recently with loads of people on their MVQ books, and a lot of people out there, they've paid lots of money and are not getting an MVQ out of it by the looks of it. So just look into it. And typically private providers will just teach you to pass the test. So you have to be quite self-disciplined to kind of fill the gaps and build upon that knowledge, because you might not be that well-rounded electrician by the end of it, because you've skipped through it quicker than potentially the 4-year apprenticeship where you'll have a bit more exposure to stuff on sites. I did mention then the domestic installer course. CTP do provide that, and it is a great course. I've heard good feedback from it. I've not attended it myself. The one thing I will say though is, don't go on that thinking you'll be an electrician by the end. It's a good kind of starting block to give you an idea of what the trade involves. It'll give you good stepping stones moving forward, but you'll still need to do your level 2, level 3 and MVQ to get to that electrician point. So as I say, I had the hurdle of trying to find employment to get over. So to deal with that, I've done some extra courses to kind of increase my CV really. That involved doing my inspection and testing course, a course that's normally reserved for later on in your electrical career. I've done a course on EV charging points. Done a lot of health and safety courses, working at heights, asbestos awareness, done my IOSH, supervisor's course. But the main thing that helped with raising my profile was a competition that I entered called Skills Electric, which is a national competition where trainee electricians basically put themselves forward, or the training provider put them forward, and then you have to compete against each other, producing electrical install. I got to the final of that event, and so the top 8 of electrical trainees, and it was kind of that's what kind of helped me prove myself to my company, because I was already employed then, but also kind of the industry to some people out there now. But if it's to do it again, I'd try and get experience for a lot sooner. So I've been looking for that job, maybe doing some evening work, some weekend work, some potential work kind of during leave, just to build that work and experience to back up your paperwork, your qualifications that you might get beforehand. With that, it's a suggestion to get your ECS card, which is the electrical version of your CSCS card. So as soon as you've done your level 2, I suggest getting that ECS card for electrical labour, and then starting to see if you can get on some sites. It's your ticket to get on construction sites. Basically, is working in the electrical industry. So that's a good thing to try and get early on to get that experience. So going into then what the job looks like and what I tend to get up to. So it's very varied. There's so many different avenues that you can go down in the electrician world. So I tend to work mostly in commercial and industrial settings at the moment. However, my employer does have a lot of high-end domestic clients. So I just haven't gone down that route at the moment. And then within all those kind of different areas, there's a lot of specialities you can go down. So your solar PV, your heat pumps, your EV charging. So there's the kind of the trade is massive, and you if you don't enjoy one side of it, there's so many different options to kind of keep progressing down. So just becoming an electrician, so that's just the start of the trade, really. So yeah, typical day will see me start at around 7 o'clock, 7:30, finishing at 3:30, 4 o'clock. So for an 8-hour day. On site, I'd be either fitting like the containment to hold the cable, so the conduit, the trunking that you see around office blocks, or the more industrial stuff with tray, basket, ladder, like that you'll see in factories. Then you kind of move on to second fix stuff, so terminating the cables in sockets, panels, switches, lighting, and the likes. And then the final thing that we have to do is the inspection, testing, and commissioning of it. So it depends where we are on the project, what kind of work I'll be doing that day. But typically, every week or so, I move on to something fairly different, whether that's on the same site and we move on, but every day is not really the same, which is the nice thing about it all. So over the last few months, just to go through what I have been up to. So conducted a whole office refurb, which is great. So started from the strip out of all the old cables and installation, and then moved on to just fitting it out brand new everywhere. So it's really great to see that from start to finish and handing the keys over to the client. So and then last week I was on an inspection and test of a primary school, and then this week I'm now on a relighting project in a school. So changing all that old fitments to LED, and I've actually found myself as the lead on that job, which is quite nice, and a lot sooner than I was actually expecting. But nice to be thrown in the deep end. But yeah, overall with that kind of life is more stable, and I find that I've got my passion for work back. I actually look forward to going back to work, kind of after a weekend, and like everything is still fairly new for me. Every day's a school day, and I like that I'm going in and kind of still learning and can throw myself into new challenges on a daily basis. And one thing that's nice as well is kind of at the end of the day, I can typically look at something I've installed and I've got a physical product to kind of look back at for kind of my day's efforts. But before I quickly wrap up then, so I'd quickly like to just say a thank you to BuildForce and particularly Caroline. They helped massively because I left it to the last minute really engaging with them and got into kind of panic time of I need a job quick, and they worked tirelessly to get me to the job I've got today, and I'm really grateful for that. And they're still there to support me now, which is really nice. Another mention I'd like to is Dark and Taylor, my current employer. So they're the ones that took the chance on me. So when I had all the qualifications but didn't really do much electrical work at the point, they kind of took the chance and took me on, which was great. So they're a great place to learn so much varied work, and yeah, the ability to grow as well, because it's a large company. So there is a structure to progress up. So I'm not kind of just in a 1 or 2 man band kind of company where I can't really move to management stuff. There's management here to move to. There's design, there's all the specialities of it. We're starting to grow into the mechanical side a lot more as well. So there's that avenue to potentially go down later on. So if you are looking to break into the electrical industry and within the Oxfordshire, Thames Valley kind of London area, please do give them a consideration. They do everything that involves cables, so it's not just electrician. You can do data engineer, you could be fire and security engineer, maintenance, and then all the other specialities that go with it. They are very keen on hiring more ex-forces, and they do tend to hire on attitude rather than qualification. So they'll happily speak to you at whatever point you are on your training kind of pipeline. They can teach the electric sides of it, but they can't teach the attitude that they potentially look for. They do work alongside JTL, which is a massive apprenticeship firm. So if you want to come in and just get straight on the apprenticeship, do it the more proper way as such, then you can go down that way, and they'll help fund that as well. So you might not be having to use too much of your ELCs and stuff. So yeah, a few other bits and pieces that might be worth looking at. I'm happy to help at any point. If you do want to reach out to me, that's great. Either through BuildForce or through LinkedIn. I'll be happy to give advice or kind of help point you in the right direction if you did want to look at a career in Dark and Taylor. A few bits that I've seen quite useful to kind of add to what I've spoken to today. So there's podcasts out there. Particular one that I'd recommend is Apprentice 121 by Mark Allison. He's recently just put a series on there about the apprenticeship scheme, but it does cover a lot of the other areas, such as the route I've gone through. So they're only like 10 minutes long each episode, and there's 5 of them. So it'll give you an overview of the trade and the training pipeline. There's also Gary Elder's book, So You Want to Be an Electrician, which is really helpful. Again, it's only about 150 pages long, but it gives you a little insight of kind of all the different avenues of the trade. So that's a good one to look at. And lastly, there's the JIB handbook as well. So that it just covers the terms of employment really within the electrical industry. It's only employers that sign up to be JIB members that have to stick to that. But if you have a look at that, that'll give you an idea of what to expect in the industry, because the wages in that are fairly the same throughout. You will get paid potentially more in a non-JIB company. However, you won't get kind of company vehicles, pensions, healthcare, and the like. So that's another one that's just good to have a little glance through, and it'll give you an idea of kind of what conditions you've got to look forward to if you do go down the electrician route. But that's me. So hopefully I've give you all something to think about. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
That was fantastic, both of you. Thank you very much. So I'll ask Dan and Kevin to put their cameras on, Caroline to join. Thank you all very much for that. That was excellent. If you do have any questions, please raise your hand or switch your camera off and join us. Everybody's more than welcome to have a chat about what we've heard or any questions they've got to take their career forward. Just to kick off with a few, just whilst we're waiting for the audience to warm up. So Dan, thank you for opening that today. That was brilliant. So you mentioned just a couple of things I want to pick up on. You mentioned coincidentally the HS2 project day was happening around the time that you registered with BuildForce, and the importance of having a mentor in Peter Rigby. He kind of really championed you through and introduced you to people. Do you think would you recommend that to others? Do you think that really helped you, just getting out there and amongst it, having somebody in industry to help?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like going down to that, the project day was opened my eyes to it really, how big the scale and the size of the project, but definitely the network within that and with BuildForce, that's what got me my in really. Like it's all right me standing there and speaking to people, but I needed like people inside and with all your connections and helping. Yeah, that's why I'm sat here now. So big thank you to everyone that got me here.
And just on that point, it's a really good point you mentioned. You said that you were nervous attending some of the events What advice would you give to somebody that is a little bit anxious, a little bit worried about turning up, kind of standing there a little bit like a spare prick at a wedding? What would you say to them just to get through that initial awkwardness?
Yeah, like I say, just find out who you want to speak to, who you're there to see, if any. Just have a question set, and just once you speak to that first employer, you fully relax. Then you kind of, oh, that wasn't so bad, and you move on to the next one, and the next one, it just gets easier and easier. It's just that initial, like, you just have to kind of throw yourself in there a little bit, and once you get over that line, you're sailing from there.
Right. So have a plan and walk in with a mission, and that will just get that awkwardness.
Yeah.
And the day itself, we were talking a little bit about the role. Are there similarities with being a corporal in the Royal Engineers? Do you see the kind of structure, the camaraderie, the teamwork, task focus? Was that familiar for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, like I said, there's lots of it. The way our lifting team set up is like it's like a troop anyway. So you have your officers, staffies at the top, and like we're out on the ground managing, supervising, and there's a lot of similarities and a lot of ex-forces in there. So everyone got screws the nut, and
good. Politics with the office lot as well, is that a familiar experience?
Oh yeah. Keep me out of the office.
At the office. And you mentioned a camaraderie there with the military guys. Are there quite a lot of ex-military on the HS2 projects? Was that a good community to tap into?
Yeah, so absolutely. So there's quite a lot within the lifting team, but even in the offices and other trades. So the steel fixers there, foremen, ex-engineers, a lot of the guys on the ground, a lot of the fixers, the joiners are ex-forces, like Marcus, logistics manager. Yeah, there's loads and loads and loads.
So just for clarity on the actual career piece then. So what did you have to do to get you out of that Royal Engineer role and into the employment piece? So some of your military qualifications were valid, wasn't there? But there was a little conversion piece.
Oh yeah, so when I did all my crane and lifting courses at Gibraltar Barracks, they offer you, you get the NPAWS qualification. So that is accepted on some sites. However, CPCS is accepted on every site. Well, I will put myself through all CPCS courses just to be double sure. Basically, you can take the chance on using your own, but however, CPCS is the most, like, the gold standard.
Right. So you were able to go straight into that Slinger signaller role and kind of start from day one. Did you have everything in place?
Yeah. So I had my Slinger ticket. You'll find when looking that they only take blue cards. I mean, you start on a red card, so you have to like get someone to take really and get that experience. I mean, start with agencies. There are jobs out there, but so you start on a red card and you work your way through to a blue card when you're a bit. But the only way you can get experience is on the job.
And you mentioned, you said progression was crane supervisor up to appointed person, potentially into site manager. So your employer would sponsor or fund any courses you need. That's part of your career development now you're on board. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Balfour Beatty put me through quite to their training centre already. They've sponsored me for like the level 2, the level 4, and just doing my supervisor NVQ now. So I've just started wearing my black hat today.
Okay, well done.
So quite cheers. That was nice this morning. NVQ level 5 with my LCAS, and then I'm spending the rest of my LCAS like use it or lose it. So I'm for my site management courses.
And that's where the career's heading, is it? They're going to lose you as a Slinger signaller. You're heading to site management.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. But that's, say, 5-year plan. It might all change, but 5-year plan. That's how it's going at the moment.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. So you seem to be absolutely soaring in that career, Daniel. So well done, you, Kevin. Again, so your presentation was absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So a lot of really good detail there. So again, you were W02, weren't you? So you were quite senior in your rank. Why did you want to be an electrician? Why was that the career you chose?
Well, I found the end of my career ended up kind of just down the management route and stuff. So lost the passion of kind of being behind the computer and kind of just pushing orders out, getting other people to do stuff and not doing it myself. So I just wanted to be like back on the tools, doing a hands-on job. And yeah, I love the decision I made. It's kind of not so much having the responsibility of loads of people or a big scale project or stuff that I would have had within the army, but now kind of I'm there just do what I'm told a bit and kind of back doing stuff with my hands and creating stuff.
Is it like
it's really good.
Fun? You're really enjoying it?
Yeah. I, as I said, I kind of like the long weekend that we had recently. I was like, I'm a bit bored now. I know what I've got to do next week. I want to get kind of stuck back in.
Okay. And again, are you like genuinely minted? Are you loaded, Kevin? Because they say electricians are the best paid apprentice, are the best paid trade.
No, so yeah, I think that that thinking and stuff that's out there might be a bit negative to us, because I actually we're not the most highly paid trade out there. I think with that, loads of people want to be electrician. It is fairly well paid. But yeah, I think to get kind of big money back to where I was as a W2 anyway, I need to get back into management at some point, or a more kind of senior role within the office on the tools. I'll probably get to about 45 within a company. Beyond that, I'll have to go down the management route, really. Right.
Well, you've definitely got the skill set for it, so it's within your capability, isn't it? It's just whether you want to do it. So yeah. You said some of the advice you gave was absolutely brilliant. Some of it was in terms of that hurdle of securing an employer. You mentioned the skills competition you went for, which was brilliant. So kind of well done you for that, just that initiative, but for the bravery as well for proceeding with that. But you said look for a job earlier, do evening and weekend work. How easy is that when you're not fully skilled as an electrician?
I think it's trying to find someone like kind of through word of mouth, kind of through family, friends and stuff is probably the easiest route to get. I know not everyone's got that. I didn't have that myself, so I had to kind of just keep bombarding people and just getting involved in agencies. And it's typically agencies that were like, if you got no experience, we're not bothered. And there's a lot of kind of being ghosted by him, or just not the conversation not going anywhere really down that route. But what I did start to do near the end is use LinkedIn and actually kind of use the search functions with there. So look for electricians that are ex-forces, and then just speaking to them and going, how did you break into it? Like, what company do you work in now? And starting to kind of break down the barriers and get kind of the get them to kind of do a bit of talking within companies and stuff. So that was starting to go somewhere until Dark and Taylor picked me up. So someone did say, if you're short in summer, we'll potentially bring you on for a bit. So yeah, just being a bit kind of determined with it, and just keep reaching out. It was quite a struggle as to get that initial job, but now that I'm in, I've no doubt that I'll never be short of work now.
Right. Okay. No, everybody needs an electrician. They're short in supply. And you did say that you paid for your level 2, but everything else was paid for through the ELC. So just as a ballpark, roughly, how much was that level 2?
So that was about $2,500.
Right. Okay. And again, you just personally picked that up. And when you came on board with your employer, they just sounded so nourishing and so supportive. So you really felt that,
Yeah, so it's because like the scale of it is kind of, it felt like I was going through like the same kind of feeling in the army, where you're kind of part of a big team and there's a bit of a rank structure and like and they've got kind of their own set of like core values and stuff that they want to achieve. So it kind of felt like I was going from something similar to the army anyway. So part of a bigger thing, wanting to do good work.
Okay, and you mentioned as well, and one of the things I think you personally paid for was your ESC cards, so the equivalent of the CSCS. Again, just a couple £100 you paid for that yourself, just to.
Yeah, so yeah, that just involves an admin fee to process it, and then there's a health and safety test as well. So if it's around £60 or something like that, it's less than 100 anyway, I believe.
And one of
So and
your
I'm sure you probably, sorry, I was going to say probably if you're still serving, we'll probably be able to get that covered by SLCs, I would imagine.
right, okay, perfect. And when you're speaking to, obviously there's those that are going to now connect if they haven't already, but when you're speaking to people that are considering it, is it a long process to get to where you have, or is there any way somebody can just over accelerate it?
No, so as I say, it's a 4-year process ideally, and that's the route that, if it works financially, that's probably the route that will stop you having any hurdles as you go down your career. But yeah, it took 2 years, and I was pretty kind of just on it constantly, just pushing as hard as I could. So say between 2 or 3 years to do it, kind of the route I went is kind of realistic, really.
That 2 to 3 years,
So.
was that like an apprentice electrician rate you were on, or an electrician's mate rate, just to give a feel?
Yeah, so I started straight on electrical labourer, which is your electrician's mate, electrical improver. It's kind of all similar terms for the same thing. So I started off on a higher rate than an apprentice, so that did help kind of cushion the blow of saying bye to the W2 with EOD pay kind of wages I had.
And you constantly ask for favours from mates and neighbours, and everybody's speed dial?
Yeah, so it's starting to increase now, because it comes up as conversation. Oh, you're an electrician, and they start looking around the house and going, what can you do?
Okay. So it's a useful trade to have. I think I'll put you in my speed dial as well, Kevin. So you're probably regretting that now. But listen, much to both of you. So again, their incredible contribution today, and to our military community that are watching, what incredible trades these are, with really supportive employers in Balfour Beatty Vinci and Dark and Taylor. So just so respectful and supportive of their military community. And as Kevin said, employers can't treat or give you the right attitude. You have that in abundance. It's inbuilt in you. So you've got everything going for you. Just a bit of guidance and steerage from us just to get you there, but it's definitely within your reach. Remember, you are not alone. BuildForce are here to support and guide you as you're going through your transition. So please get in touch and we'll help you take this further. And I'll pass back to Caroline for some final insights.
Thanks, Angela. I mean, it's always great to see and hear from our candidates, and they're flying. I mean, you both just talked, you left about the same time, and look where you are today. So it's really great. Also great to hear that both of you, one attended our project day with HS2 and the other one of our National Insight Days, which brings me up to what's coming up next. So are you booked in? Did you hear Daniel actually started his career with BBV at our project day? So on the 24th of April, we have our HS2 project day with joint venture BBVS, that's Balfour Beatty Vinci Sistra, at Old Oak Common, and it gives you an opportunity for a site visit of Old Oak Common Station. This new super hub is set to be the best connected and largest new railway station in the UK, with 14 stations, so we can go around an hour's site visit of seeing that in production. So that's going to be fantastic. And then come back to meet the team, and we have some discipline-led career chats. And then the following day, so you get 2 for 1. The following day, we have our National Armed Forces. Meanwhile, the BuildForce team are tearing their hair out. But on the 25th of April, we have our National Armed Forces Insight Day, hosted by Vinci Facilities, but attended by 40 of our key industry employers, all looking to recruit nationally. So you may leave with a job in your pocket, or at least an interview, but definitely some good connections and absolutely brilliant industry awareness. So get yourself booked in. I put the links in the chat. I'll follow up with them by email. So thank you for listening. That's a wrap for today. I hope the sun is shining somewhere, because it's not here. Have a lovely day. And like Angela said, we are here to support you all the way, so you're not alone. Thanks for listening. Bye.
And thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Kevin.